The last scouting video we did was called Off to Never Never Land. If you haven't watched that yet, you might want to watch it before you watch this one. In that video, me and Eric were scouting and looking for where a big buck I had some confrontations with last year lived. And we went out and found a willow island that was way out in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by water, and found really massive bedding on there. I mean, it was an incredible bedding area for big bucks. All the beds were rubbed, and there was hundreds of beds. It's obvious if you hit that at the right time frame, you're going to be in some big bucks. So with that in mind, this was a vast area, very big remote area. So we decided to take another trip out to this area, take a day trip out there and do another day of scouting. And we wanted to search for similar islands, see if bucks were mimicking that in other spots in that same swamp. So we went out looking for those willow islands out in the water. Found a giant deadhead. Did you see it? Look.
Giant, eh?
Yeah, massive antlers. Yeah. They're imaginary, but they're massive.
Yeah, he's missing the antlers.
It was a big doe.
The only part that's missing.
It was a big doe, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's a big
sure
head.
Is. Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
It's actually some pretty heavy trails coming right off of these willows again.
Yeah.
Another big, is that a scrape there? Yeah, sure enough. Yeah. Look at that branch that's busted off all the way up here.
Yep, right here.
That's a big branch.
All the historical rubs all over in the tree too.
Holy, look at this damn.
Oh yeah, I see it. That's high up.
Mm-hmm. That is
big animals
way
around
up
here.
there.
Yeah. Pulling it down and getting up fire.
Yeah, true.
So we're moving around and looking for more spots like that first spot, and we saw a series of islands that are kind of like the same thing as that. Again, really remote out here. And we had to cross this little one to get to a bigger one over there, and I knew there'd be bedding here, and as we got closer, there's trails coming in and out of here like crazy. And we got in here, there's a lot of huge historical rubs. Like this one, when you come close, you look close, it was hit this year. You see some marks here and here. Not much, but a little bit, right? But you look, there's beds here. I mean, there was obviously something really big bedding here, but I have a tendency to believe that that island over there is going to be better. This is pretty close to the human access. I mean, they ain't coming here because we literally almost drowned coming here. I mean, we found a route eventually, but there's some really sketchy stuff to come through to get back here.
Yeah.
But this buck would be actually watching the human access. So I think this is something for me to monitor, but I'm not real excited about this until I see what's going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
This, we do have a setup for this over here. Eric hunted it, and he had some deer come past him, but it's quite a distance. I think it's like 200 yards.
Yeah, all of that.
And there is some stuff over there that I think when we're coming out we'll look at that is only like 150 yards.
Mm-hmm.
That I think that anything bedding here is going to come through, but anything bedding over there might too.
I think this will hold something during the year, but I think it's for a very short window.
Right. There's something bedding here. There's nothing. The grass is matted down. But when you look around, all the trees in here are dead. This is the only real tangle that can hold a deer, so it holds one deer.
Right.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. It piqued my interest with the size of the sign, for sure.
Yeah, there's some nice historical back here on this tree.
Yeah. When we were walking up, I mean, there's some really big ones over there too.
There's a giant one back here.
Yeah, this bed has been used here too. Here's a fresh one. He actually rubbed this branch just hanging down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's something to monitor.
I actually don't think it's that bad, because I think it's going to connect with some other stuff.
Yeah.
It's all going to meet at those trees over there.
Here too, this is all hit.
So if you look, see the trees that are over there?
Yep.
There's bedding that we think is over there. Everything's going to meet over there. Yeah. There's lots of historical over here.
This is the island that
That's the one we're gonna go to next, yep. Let's walk through the cover here.
Take a look at this.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's another high one.
Pretty good one.
Yep.
And it's all coming straight off of an island. There's no doubt.
Yeah, and that's what we want to look at, is that island. I think that might be like the first one we looked
I
at.
think it's gonna look very similar. Look at some of this giant stuff up here. That's historical. That's all coming off of that island again. See if there's anything fresh in here now.
3 big trees in a row, 4 trees.
Look at that.
Wow. Yeah, one of them's fresh, and this one's fresh in here.
Yeah. Yep.
Once that scarring's on there, it's hard for them to freshen them. It almost looks like there's a bedding hole right there.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. The sign just keeps picking up. Here we got some fresh stuff up here. Look at all the historical in here.
Yeah, and they're high. This one's high anyways.
Yeah.
And this goes right up to that tree line that goes to that island that we were talking about.
And we can see that all the way from over there.
Yeah, so what piqued my interest is that island has we can see from the way off in the distance, we could see a line of trees coming down here. And we want to follow that line because I think that's how the deer are traveling in and out of there, you know, around the water. That could be pretty good.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So here's a bed right here, another obvious bed right there. Some giant, around here, historical rubs back in here. And again, I don't even think we're in the good stuff. I think the good stuff's back there.
Yeah, I agree.
Every trail and everything is leading back there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no
But I'd be
doubt.
willing to bet that this is real early in the season, and most of the stuff is coming from back there. But it does tell us to kind of avoid this on our way back. Like to come in from an angle or something if we don't want to spook this.
Mm-hmm.
Or if we're not going to hunt it, just walk right through it. But I don't want to kick
Right.
deer back there,
Yeah,
you
yep,
know.
yep. Just check out this last little patch here, and move on to that island.
This is some good stuff.
That's pretty high, dude.
Look at the height of this rub.
That's pretty high. Wow.
That is a good one. And it's been hit before too.
Yeah.
There's some stuff some brush in here.
Yeah, some smaller ones. Looks like there's a bed inside of there.
Yeah, very well.
A couple of them. Look at that. That's just a couple holes right there where they bed.
Sure enough.
That's the trouble, is we're gonna have to walk through this bedding to get to the good stuff.
Yeah. I think you almost gotta hunt this first, right?
Well, we could hunt
At
that
least
spot
give it
where
a
you
shot.
hunted across the access,
Yep.
and you had deer come out of these beds. It just wasn't bucks.
Right, right. Cool. Another piece to the puzzle.
You know what a guy could do is we got some stuff over here too that looks like really good bedding, but there's no way you can hunt that. It's just in solid cattails. I don't know if you see the pocket of willow brush,
Yeah, yep.
but where they come out of there, there's just no trees, and even over here, there's really nothing. But what a guy could do is he could there's one spot across here we could hunt once, you know, one try, and then move in. But I think a guy could walk through this stuff, this little thin stuff, one day, wait a few days, and then go back and hunt further.
Yeah, because you're really not harming that out there by
Right, and these
by
deer will just
hunting
move
this.
back.
Yep.
If we spook them out of here mildly,
Mm-hmm.
they'll just move back, and then I think we could hunt back.
And I know that you sometimes intentionally will do that, get those deer
Right, you bump
moved to
'em.
where you know you can hunt.
Right, because it's a people think that when you bump deer they go for miles. They don't. More than likely they just move over a little, unless you scare the hell out of them. If you come walking through here like the pheasant hunters do, they're used to just jumping up and moving over when pheasant hunters and stuff come through. And really right here, people get into what we're into right now.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think deer hunters do, but pheasant hunters do for sure.
Yeah. These deer see a lot more of us than we see of them. That's for
Right,
for sure.
right. So I think we could intentionally bump them back. Yeah, right where I'm at, you can see her. Right through there. There she goes. There's another one over there. So as we got up to the island, Eric goes, I bet you we're going to kick deer off this island. There's a lot of fresh sign. All of a sudden deer start jumping up. This one jumped up right in these cattails here, but it jumped up right in front of us here, right here someplace. And then another one when it took off from inside of there after it stopped, another one jumped up.
Yeah.
It looked like the closer one was a mature doe. I was trying to see if there's anything on its head. It didn't look like it, but it's a good sign we're getting in them. It's right where we expect them to be bedded.
Yeah, I just noticed that, you know, a lot of fresh tracks along the way. I've been paying attention. It looked like stuff from this morning or something. So
Yeah. We did figure out though too that when we were looking from over there, and it's kind of funny how all this stuff changes as you come in. But from over there, this looked like a real thin tree line.
Yep.
And when we came in, we had picked out that tree from a distance. It looked like a good tree, but as we get up here and we see all these trails, they're closer together up here, and it would be a much better hunt from up here, and there's no bedding in here. So just back a little ways from the island, I think we're going to end up being 75 yards from the island. We're not going to be in that tree back there.
Right.
But I do think there's some potential of the deer going around out that way too, and two guys could hunt this at the same time and get in a willow over there or something, and over here. And we have to look over there yet first to make sure. But it does seem to have the potential for two people to hunt this at once.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said before, it's almost like you're hunting two different areas. This island is just that wide, so
Right.
we'll look into it a little more. But
Yeah, let's check it out. Now the trails are starting to split up a little more in here. But that deer jumped out right here.
Yeah,
Where the bed was. Right here someplace. We're looking at the beds where the first deer jumped, and actually looking at the sign in them and the poop in them and stuff, they look like they were being bedded during the season. I mean, in these cattails, because there's a lot of old sign in these beds. So this is probably where we're gonna expect that there's gonna be deer starting right where these cattails start, basically.
right.
But when I did get to here, looking at these beds, I saw this soda can here.
Oh, cool.
Mountain Dew. Oh, there's some in there. It's a little stale. Actually, it tastes more like urine. I wonder if that's actually Mountain Dew.
Oh boy.
Anywho, that tells me somebody was back here, but none of these trees are set up. I would imagine it's somebody walking around with a gun. People with guns get all over this place,
Right.
you know. But we'll just take that out for him because he's a slob.
Sure looks that way.
Yeah. All right, let's keep looking.
What do you spy ahead, Dan?
Well, we're just getting to the island, and I can see some real big rubs already, and there's massive trails coming out of here. So I think this is going to be a little bit like the last one, only it is a smaller section. It's kind of compact, but there's some good sign in here. Let's take a look at this rub here. It looks really high.
Yeah, that does.
Look at that.
Jeez.
And you talk about height of rubs being with age class. Come around this way. Here's a different buck.
Sure enough.
See, that's your typical 2 or 3 year old. This is a mature buck, I think. From my point of view, that high. And this is a rub line. I can see another rub up there.
And that's waist high.
I think height-wise, this is quite comparable to that smaller poplar we saw closer to the human trail that was
Yeah.
way up. So it may very well be the same buck.
You can see networks of trails through here too, and historical rubs everywhere.
But doesn't quite look as good yet as the last island we were on, but we still have a lot to get through.
Yeah, that
so
second deer we saw jumped right here by these rubs.
that one I did not catch. You saw that
It
one?
ran off when the first one, secondary ran. Remember, it ran in here and stopped. Then when it ran again, another one jumped up.
Sure. There's a lot of good historical hit all over the
Yeah,
place.
look at how high that historical one over there is, and that one. Wow.
Unreal.
Yeah, look at this. Jeez, man.
Trees have been abused.
And there's trails through here everywhere.
Look at that trail.
You see there's trails going back into here too. I wonder if they bed in the cattails sometimes too.
Yep.
If there's some high spots out there.
Oh,
But I don't
yeah.
see any trees. There's some trees over there we got to look at, but
Yeah, there are some singular trees out there, but I don't know how close we're getting to that next.
oh, look at this. Oh, stand by that once.
Holy! Holy shnikes is what I would say.
Wow, that's a big rub, dude.
It is.
And that's coming right down this transition. These
Right down the
probably-
trails.
Yeah,
That one's been hit too. It's got a little bit of bark removed.
sure. Wow, good slow.
So you know what I'm seeing here? Is when we came in, we jumped that doe over there. We went over there, those all look like doe beds, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it if the cattail area over there is doe beds. Because when you get in here, there really isn't that many beds in here for big bucks, like the other spot. But there's a lot of parallel trails. There's like 3 or 4 trails that run parallel here, right to that doe bedding.
Yeah, they're marking those does coming in and out of here.
And all the trails that go into that doe bedding are marked.
Yep.
And they're marked on parallel trails, but they're marking the trails that go to the doe bedding. I'm thinking that this is probably a rut place.
I agree, 100%.
And if they're doing this, they're marking these trees when those does are bedded there. One of those does bedded there during the day.
Right.
So this is a good rut hunting spot. And it looks like it has been for years. And I don't see one tree set up anywhere. There's a good one on the other side of this too. Just look at this. This is insanity.
Yeah, this is tore up in here.
There might have been a little bedding area.
Yeah, sure does look that way.
Yeah, it looks like there's one bedding here. Look at this.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
Right where I was looking.
This trail's getting pretty heavy here.
It is.
This is the thing too, is all those trails that are over there come together here. This is in a bad spot. The guy was going to press his way into here. Just don't know which tree you'd be in, but maybe a little bit further back so you can shoot the whole, probably more cover.
The whole
back
width
there,
of that
actually.
island.
Yeah. Definitely got to figure some more stuff out and then pick up some trees.
Right.
So when we got to this island, we were thinking about how Never Never Land Island worked out in the last video. And we were expecting there to be good buck bedding on there. And we found lots of big rubs, just like we did in the other spot. We found a little bedding. But there's a huge difference. We didn't find beds at all the rubs, and the rubs were on trails. This was a rut island. And a person needs to be able to differentiate between a rut island and a bedding island, right? So here, deer are there during the rut. You could see the trails going through there for rut, the rub lines. And you can see the rubs on the cross trails going to the doe bedding. It was a rut spot. So what this is a narrow island that these deer are running. And this is starting to break out here and the trails are going in different directions. And if a guy was going to hunt over there, like we first looked at, one guy could hunt over there and one guy over here, and we could cover both ends of this, right? And just looking at right here, what tree to get in. Because it does look like they come right underneath here, but over there really isn't much to get into. You know, maybe that bushy tree there, because then you can cover over that way quite a bit and over here, right?
Right.
Because I was thinking about right here, but I think some of the deer are going to come up right in line with you. I don't like that.
No, I agree.
That tree don't look too bad, does it?
No, it really doesn't. Where do these trails kind of head to? That's a pretty
They kind of
close.
split up here. Some go that way,
Yeah.
some go this way.
Oh yeah, sure. Yep.
But right here, I think from that tree you could hit them all.
Let's take a look at that one once.
So
There is one main trail that goes underneath that one too, but at least you got some open room for them to move around. It ain't bad. It's what, 20 yards to the furthest trail, right?
yeah, yep.
So we get a stand right here, we'd be right into the nest and stuff.
I want to get a peek at. There's that last tree that comes off of the tip.
Yeah.
Out there. I want to take a look at that.
You'd rather get in there a little bit? I'm just worried about early season. I don't think we want to get right in there.
Yeah, see, I would plan on hunting this around rut time.
Yeah, I think that there's some potential for early season too, though.
Yeah. Right.
Rut, I think you're right. We move in. We can't really hunt in early season if we don't have a tree set up, because I think you got to have a hole in this.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you have to get in here early season. There's definitely potential out here.
So I mean, you could put a stand right here. It's got a couple branches off.
Two sticks.
You can shoot all of this, and you can get into this fairly easy. And then we could have a guy over there on the other side of the beds, back there, and the two of us could hunt this together. And if it don't work out, you come in for rut, move in further.
Right.
And I'd be happy with either one of these spots based on the sign coming out of that side and the sign coming out over here.
Yeah, there's a lot of good
Flip a coin.
stuff coming out of here, no doubt. Any way you look at it.
So with everything looking like rut bedding, you're probably wondering why I'm looking at a tree and talking about setting it up for early season. Well, what we haven't gotten to on the video yet is that off to the side there's a lot of trails coming in there from some patches of brush that are most definitely bedding to my trained eye. So we're already thinking in that direction, and that's why I'm looking at this tree that can cover the rut funnels and cover deer coming out from that bedding.
Dan and I are out on this second island that we're taking a look at, and we're just getting through some of this. We had walked this whole island all the way through, and we picked up on a lot of different trails that were coming out of Cattails. But what we noticed was that parallel trail that those bucks were using to mark does coming in and out of bedding right over here. We didn't quite come up with a setup in there. We did walk in there, but there are just trails everywhere. And we really think those bucks are coming just right down the pipeline on that parallel trail from end to end. And so I had picked this end here, knowing that these bucks are probably cruising right down this tree line. There's going to be bedding on either side of this island, and they're coming in to smell these does. So I picked the end of the island and this tree that's kind of offset from off of the point of this island because of the doe bedding over here. I didn't want to have to run through that doe bedding to hunt the middle of this island. This way we can skirt around the outside of this land bridge behind us, and we can get into this tree and hunt this for a rut setup. And really, you could have bucks coming from either way, right up and down this pipeline. And
I think my first perception was this was too open, but it is pretty green. I mean, you can see that those leaves are going to get big before fall. I mean, it's just starting to get leaves. But when we came from that way and we came from that way, there's actually a lot of trees blocking this from view from the buck trail.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're noticing us. And there's also a trail over here going a lot closer to the does that you can hit from here, but you can't hit from the inside.
Right, right. And I really like to too, when I'm trying to come up with a setup, I like to be off of those deer a little bit. I don't like to be within 8 yards of the trail. If you have to, you have to, but where it
I was leaning more about being where all that sign was. But when we got over there and looked, there's trails everywhere, and no matter where you put the tree, there's potential the deer to walk right underneath you, directly in line with you, and it was just too much. You'd have to clear a lot. You'd have to make shots all the way across the island. Over here, where it all narrows down, it becomes one trail.
Right, right, and that's what I had kind of envisioned. Now, you had a really good point about if a buck had been coming from that end of that island and running into these does before he got to you, you're lost. But But it's really a 50-50 shot. You could have anything coming out from this way too, coming into the does
Yeah.
that you got shooting.
What is too is we noticed a couple beds right along the edge there with rubs in them that could be rut beds where they sit there monitoring the does.
Right.
And if that's the case and we go over there, we're blowing them out of there before we even hunt. You wouldn't be blowing them out of there here.
Right.
So I like your choice. I like this tree.
I like it.
I think it's the right one.
Cool.
Okay, let's look for the tree over here. You know, this is literally, you could hunt this one guy too. You could hunt here, slip around the next day, hunt over there, and then come in rut and hunt that. This could be one person, do all these spots.
Right.
If you're coming this way, you get a crack this way. If they're not, you go there, right? All right. So this is the tree we're picking for the deer coming out of the island and the bedding this direction, which is where a lot of the sign is going back to the crops, right? So we like this tree for early season. It's about 75 yards, 80 yards from the doe bedding, and about 100 yards from the island itself. So you turn around, you see the island. So one of the reasons I picked that tree, when we followed the main buck trail coming out of there, that's coming out and going to where we found all those rubs back there and stuff, right? When you follow that main trail, this tree has trees in line with it blocking it. Where some of the other ones that look good, like the one over there, they'd be walking right in line with that looking at it. So I looked at this one because I was looking through trees like this tree, at the buck trail coming like this. He couldn't see me in this tree until he passed that tree. So that's why I chose that tree.
It's a valid point. Yeah, because I mean, you're really not going to have a lot of cover in here as well, aside from the backdrop and the tree itself. But as far as grass, you know, maybe being 4 feet tall,
Yep.
you don't have a lot of other cover. So,
all right, let's mark this one and then we'll check that next island.
You do.
Just about lost a finger.
Nice. I probably can't show that in, I'll probably have to put that in black and white.
Yes, you
or,
will.
Yeah,
Good old YouTube.
yeah. You trying out that new saw of yours?
Yeah. Yep, the wow saw.
The wall saw.
And it really is wow. When
Yeah, that thing will take a thumb off like nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes very short work of a tree. No doubt about that. And a finger.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
We moved over about 100 yards because we had seen what looks like better bedding over here, another island. When we got over here, now over the Cattails, we see an island of brush over there, dogwood and over there. And this spot here where these last trees are, trails like this are coming in from several directions. And this is really starting to look pretty good.
this really is. I'm
really curious of what's going on in these trees here because these are intermixed with cattails. More like that
Right.
first spot we looked at.
It always gives a lot better cover.
But there's literally one heavy trail like this going to each one of these little islands. This could be pretty cool. Look at the amount of mud on these logs. You see that?
Mm-hmm. We may very well have kicked that doe through here before.
Whoa.
Oh, this trail is just beat.
Yeah, and just think there's 3 more coming off of that spot.
Yeah, yep.
Just like it.
Well, Dan, I stopped bleeding.
That's good.
That's good news. It all dried up, so I don't get it
Yeah.
all over Carol's seat.
We were going to put a tourniquet on his thumb because he was going to bleed out just so he could get this last island scouted before he goes to the hospital. Look at all these tracks on here, even now.
Yeah,
You know,
yep.
This is pretty beat.
Oh, not what we kick more out of here. Whether we see them or not is different, but
Mud splash, we probably kicked a few through here.
yeah, look at all the hair. There is something good in here somewhere. I can just feel it.
Yeah. This is the kind of stuff where they bed right underneath these trees.
Yep.
This is just a network of trails, dude.
This is. I'm liking this.
groupies. Here's a scrape. As soon as we hit ground dry enough to have a scrape.
Yeah, this is looking
kind of
good.
like, looks like there's a couple different tree lines that kind of meet right in here.
Yep.
Like coming out of there. And
This just gives you the feeling that there's something good living around here.
see bedding holes in here. There's some rubs right there, rubs right here. This branch is busted right off. So is this one. They probably made a scrape here. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, this is really just pounded down in here.
There's rubs here too. So now we're getting into rubs. Over mixed stuff. Bed right here. Yeah, you can even see the hair in this one. See that?
Clumps.
Yeah.
Actually some decent tracks in here. Here we got a bed here then. Kind of tucked in there.
Yep.
Yeah, this is just littered with beds.
We probably kicked this one out. This is a fresh bed.
Yep.
See, it's still matted. And look at the hair in it. See that? Now, from a distance, it looks thicker, doesn't it?
That's it. I mean, it's.
Look at all this.
Jeez, look at that trail.
There's a lot of smaller rubs over here, a couple bigger ones over here. Bed right there. Those rubs are pretty good.
Yeah, they are.
These ones are tiny. There's more on this side.
Big buck territory. Gotta love it.
Everywhere you look, there's beds. There's a giant bed right there.
Beds there, beds there, beds here. Any place you see up against these bushes, you see where they're bedding. And you see where there's no vegetation, you can just tell where they've been laying, you know?
Yeah, that doesn't happen just naturally.
Right.
It happens naturally from a deer.
So this is, so this area over here that we're looking at all connects by trails back to that little island over there that has all the big rubs on it. So I don't think I'd even get in here. I think I'd hunt it over there.
Yeah, yep.
Because these are coming out and going that way.
Yep.
So we went into this video thinking for sure that we were going to find, when we got to this island, this main island that we went out to scout, we were going to find bedding just like we did on the first island. But we didn't. But we were still able to read it and change our minds about what we thought we were going to see and set up for it for a different time of the season and for some early season hunts too. And now what we need to do beyond that So we're going to need to take another trip out there. And we're going to have to get further back because there's a whole area just beyond this island that we haven't gone into. And looking on the maps, it looks like it could be holding some big deer, and there's a lot of trails coming from that way towards that Rut Island that we haven't even gotten into yet. So there's going to be another video yet. Thanks. See ya.